Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us for InsideTrack's Master User Group, also known as the MUG. The MUG series has been created to guide InsideTrack current and future users to maximize the full power of InsideTrack. This is a monthly series happening the last Tuesday of every month at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Each week will feature a different core InsideTrack report or tool. That information will be shared with you via a live demo, actual master user insight, and Q&A session. Our goal is to get you feeling equipped to utilize all that InsideTrack has to offer. Up today, we'll be going over advanced purchase reports. Tyler?
Yeah. So today we're going to go over the purchase report advanced. Just want to kind of start this one off by talking about InsideTrack as a whole. Let me just share my screen with everybody real quick. You guys can see that. So just want to kind of reiterate a couple things we went over with InsideTrack. We're the leading procurement software in the industry right now. Last month's MUG session, we went over some of the new features with distributor inventory, the RFP module, and order guide compliance. So, with InsideTrack, everything starts with data. We want to take in data from everybody you guys buy from. Right now, we take data from over 1,000 plus distributors. And that's not just the big guys, that's produce, liquor, linen, equipment and supply. We want to house all your information in InsideTrack in this centralized dashboard that you can customize and manipulate, so you guys can kind of get the big picture of your spend. And being able to capture all that information is going to make the reports that we've shown you guys in some of these MUG sessions and the purchase report advanced today, which is what we're going to go over. It's going to make those reports a lot more meaningful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the purchase report advanced. And then we're going to go through some of the functionalities, and we're going to go through. We have Gordon Class on the call with us today as well. Go through a couple questions for him on how he utilizes this, and then take some questions from the audience. So what I'm going to do, the purchase report advanced, this is going to be located, so it's not a widget. It's located on the left-hand side. It's under reports. We can scroll down here and we can go to purchase report advanced. Click on that guy, open it up, and this is the purchase report advanced. So really what this is going to allow you to do, so on the dashboard, I know we've gone over price trend reports. We can manage categories along with USDA markets and looking at your top items by location. So when you find a problem in a certain area, or you want to dig in a little bit deeper than what, maybe, hey, you're looking at the distributor inventory module and you're out of stock on your top 3 items, and you want to go dig in a little bit deeper and look at your purchases so far on those items and who's buying them and what's going to go on with them. That's where you're going to come into the purchase report advanced. It's set up the same or similar way that the widgets on the dashboard are set up, but I'm going to walk you guys through this real quick, and you can see starting right here, just going to kind of go down this list as these are some of the familiar fields that you would see on the dashboard with a purchase date range. This is going to show you nice and easy, set your date range, set your time period, whatever time period you want to set, whether it's last week, last month, or so far year to date. Customer list, again, this is going to be customized based on how you guys look at your business. So if you have locations in certain regions, we can break it up by certain regions. So this customer list tree is going to reflect that. You can actually go in here and select a given property. As we go down here, we get to the distributor list. And again, just prefacing on data. We want to make sure we have all your data in the system. So you can go in here and actually run your report by, maybe your main distributor or your produce distributor or your liquor distributor, but giving you the different options to go in and actually click on that distributor. We can run a report just for, in this example, in this demo data, Gordon Food Service, or a given opco within a given distributor. So again, this is where you're going to actually manipulate your own data to provide the report you're looking for. So we can click on location, date range, distributors, manufacturers. Again, similar fields you're going to see in the dashboard where you can just type in, we'll use Tyson as a quick example. You can type in Tyson, check off Tyson, Tyson Foods, Tyson Bros, the different brands that come with Tyson, and you can just hit add, and now you're going to run a report for all Tyson products. So again, staying at a high level is great, but if you want to dig in and look at spend by manufacturer, location, distributor, you can do so. As we keep going down here, again, you're going to see a similar fields with categories. We can run a report for major, minor, or subcategories, center plate meat products. We can jump into a subcategory of deli meats, or even into individual items like bologna, chicken, corned beef, whatever you want to look at. So really the big thing behind this is really allowing you to set up a report for anything that you're buying and to view it in any way you want to view it. So as we keep going down here, customer categories. Some customers that we have, they have their own customer categories, which would be provided in here if you had them. So similar to our categories here, we would have customer provide their categories. We could import them in here and they can run reports based off the categories they have internally. Going down, purchase order IDs, there's a few more fields. So we can set our date range, click our locations, distributors, manufacturers, categories. Then we can get a little bit deeper in our own data. We can run things with, certain PO IDs or distributor product codes. So if you want to look for something that has a certain manufacturer product code, you can come in here and type in 1, 2, 3, 4 if that's the manufacturer product code. You're just simply telling this report what you're looking for, right? And how granular of a level you want to get to. Customer product code, again, some of our customers have their own product codes. We can import that and you can look up a certain product, by your customer product code, or even description. If you want to go in here and type in everything that has the word bacon in it, we can type in bacon and that report's going to run. It's going to show you everything you bought that has the word bacon in it. So you can get, again, high level or very, very granular into your own data. And that's what the purchase report advance is going to show. As we keep going down, a few more options here. Unit price, you can look at things that are only in one price range to another, or one price change to another, depending on what you're looking for. So again, that's kind of the starting point. That's where I would start as you're coming in here for the purchase report advanced. Really just setting your date ranges, customer list, distributor, all the way down manufacturer. And if you want to get granular, typing in product codes, you're allowed to do that as well. And then moving over to the format side of it, right? So we're looking at grouping. We have a few different ways we can now group this report. We have customer account, customer group, top group, customer location, data source, manufacturer, brand. So depending on how you want to look at your spend, if you want to look at it by manufacturer or distributor location or category, this is where you would go into the purchase report advance, and then you would just then check off, okay, I want to look at everything by major category. And then as we keep going down here, we can look at a few different things as well. We have top 25, top 50, top 100, top 200, kind of quick reports you can run. And again, depends on what you're looking for, right? So everybody's going to run something differently. This report just allows them to do exactly that. As we keep going down here, I'm going to jump into columns. So let me click on this. And what this allows you to do, we have over 100 different choices when it comes to columns. And this is my favorite part of the purchase report advanced. This is really where you're allowed to, okay, I have all my parameters set. I'm running for so far year to date for this customer, for this distributor. I have everything filled out. Now, when you get into the actual report itself, once you have everything, you want to group it by major category, and then you want to have a top 25, or maybe you want to show the complete report. We can actually come into here. How this reads from high to low is how the Excel file is going to come out left to right. And the nice thing about this and the flexibility with this is you can drag and drop these columns. So if I want to have the DIN first, then the description, maybe I want to take the customer out, I can take the customer out. Down here, I can move maybe the change, I can move up here. So you can manipulate, drag and drop these columns so that Excel file comes out exactly how you want it to come out. So that's the best part about it. You don't have to run it, you don't have to go into Excel, you don't have to delete anything. You're setting the whole entire report up right from this view sort tab on the left-hand side. And as you can see, we kind of set a pre-selected number of columns, but over here you can see the different columns we have, invoice, data source. As we keep going down here, some important things. Some customers may have brand incentives with their distributors, and you want to know, hey, what did I buy so far this year that is a distributor branded product? You can simply go in here. We have brand owner. You can check off brand owner. So there's multiple fields in here, and again, getting very, very granular, diving into maybe a problem category, problem item. This is where you're going to do it. This is where we're going to go in and actually sort that file to come out exactly how you want it to come out. And just remember too, if there's things that you're running weekly, monthly, whatever it may be, we can set those things up to go out automatically to you. We can also set up weekly reports on the left-hand side based off this purchase report advanced. So over here, I can just say, hey, weekly report, click on it, all the fields are filled out, and then you just simply hit run. So we can make it as easy as possible to get you guys the information you need, clean, fast, and right when you need it. So that's one of the things that are available as well. But again, just going down here, sorting everything, a lot of different parameters. But really, again, the main point with this is going in and setting your date ranges and then formatting that Excel file to come out exactly how you want it to come out, and setting these columns, again, how they read high to low is how that Excel file comes out left to right. Once you have that set, we can keep going down here. You can name this file, so it could just be, weekly report, and you could just have that in there. And then when you run it and it gets stored in the reports, you know exactly where that report is because you named it. So you can go in here and name the report. And then on the right-hand side, again, a few more fields in regards to just kind of the general fields we have over here. Going into total purchases, so you can look at things from one purchase range to another, from one discrepancy to another, total discrepancies. As we keep going down here, you have another option on what you want to look for. If you want to look for all full cases or maybe just weighted products, you can check those off as well. As we go down here as well on the right-hand side, we have invoice line type, debit, credit, or both. We can just have it show both. But again, you can select debit or credits. Also, what we can do is combine rows by. So this is kind of nice too, where you can actually go in and combine these rows by none, combine by all, or combine by manufacturer, distributor, or customer. When you go in here and run the report and you combine this report by none, what's going to happen is it's going to show you every single time you bought that item. So every time you bought this French fry, it's going to show you every single time. Versus manufacturer products, we're going to combine all those products under that manufacturer. It's going to combine that usage under that item, under that one item. So depending on how you want to look at it, if you find a problem with, let's say, a price range report and you see one price is you're paying $20 over here and $40 over here, and you want to know, okay, when did that swing happen? We can dive into the purchase report advanced and combine by none, and you'll be able to see every single time you bought that product and when that product spiked to that $40, what the date was, who bought it. So that's kind of how you utilize the dashboard in tandem with the purchase report advanced. So last couple things over here, we have, you can look at certain things, maybe just your direct deals, maybe just some of the Integra deals, depending if you're using maybe another GPO, just those GPO deals. So you can look at anything in regards to your direct deals or program type. And lastly, as we go down here, we have view sort 12 items. Again, this is just different costs, different prices you're able to pull in as well. And then as we keep going down, we have the ability to convert different currencies. We can strip out the markup to give you raw cost of your product. So it just depends on what you're looking for. But you can actually come in here, and if you have a distribution agreement, but you want to know what the actual cost in the distribution is, we can actually take that markup out and give you that raw cost of that product. So that's what this field down here on the right-hand side would do. And you can set a default markup. So you can actually type in a default markup, and then we'll pull that off as well. But what happens is, I know there's a lot of fields in here, and it is going to be a matter of getting in and looking at a few different things. The good news is there's not going to be a quiz because the answers are right in here. This question mark on the right-hand side, it's going to show you every single parameter in this report. So if you go in and you're running something, you know what something shows. If you go to this question mark, it's going to show you exactly, what the distributor field is going to show, or what, invoice line type is going to show, or combine rows by. What does that mean again? I know Tyler said combine by none. What is that going to do? It's going to show you all that information in here as well. So it's kind of a cheat sheet as you're going through and running some of these reports, and just getting more familiar with how to run these things and what to look for. What I did, I just ran a quick top 25. And again, all I did was I came in here just for last week to this past Sunday. And then what I did, I just went over here, top 25, hit run. When you hit run report, it's going to go to the top right-hand corner, and you're going to get this loading bar. So that loading bar is going to load. Once it's done, it's going to go into stored reports. We can then open this back up, and we're going to get this Excel file. What happens is we're going to open that Excel file up, and here's what we have. We're going to have all those fields that we chose, and then this is a nice, easy top 25. It's going to show you low price, high price, first and last, any changes in price, and kind of what happened with your top products, let's say last week. And this is something that we can automate to send directly out to you when you need it. But really, those are the different parameters. And again, there's a lot of different parameters with this report, but this is the go-to report when you find a problem or an issue with a certain product, within a category from a given distributor. This is where you're going to go, and this is where you're going to go in and actually manipulate your own data. And then again, just prefacing data, the more data we have, the more meaningful the reports are going to be, and being able to dive in deep, with your produce vendors, with your, linen or equipment and supply, having all that centralized in here for you guys, is going to get you information quicker, cleaner, and again, right when you guys need it. So this is the go-to report when you find a problem with a certain item, and this is where you can go and actually slice and dice your own data to give you guys exactly what you need. And that's the purchase report advance. And again, just to reiterate, there's that question mark in the top right-hand corner. You guys can go into it and just kind of dive into each one of them and just get kind of refresher on what those fields are showing.
Well, huge thank you to Tyler for going through the advanced purchase report with us. Some seriously good info there. Hopefully everyone was able to get something from that. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our super master user, Gordon Class of Wood Ranch. You may recognize Gordon. He's been with us a few times already. So Gordon, would you like to take us through your background a little bit? Oh, you're muted.
I knew that. I grew up I grew up in the industry in the Midwest. Family had a chain of restaurants and a USDA plant, and basically hospitality was my destination. But I had worked for CFS Continental, acquired by Cisco, spent 27 years at Cisco, all out of Los Angeles. Left there probably about 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and came on board over at Wood Ranch. There were a lot of reasons for it. I do what I basically did before, from overseeing sales to just overseeing the supply chain. So I always equate it to taking my baseball hat and turning it around the other way. So I love what I do. I love working with people. I do miss the interaction in supply chain. I'm more dealing with people that want me to buy as opposed to trying to sell them, but the skills are the same. So I have a lot of respect for what our suppliers and manufacturers do for us, but at the same time, I understand what they're doing. And really, it's just about what I could build at Wood Ranch that allowed me to build simplicity into the processes, because that's what was needed. So that's my background.
Awesome. Yeah, Carrie, so I can just dive into some questions with Gordy if you want to ask.
Absolutely. Do you have some questions? You want to take some questions from the audience right now?
I'll ask Gordy a couple of questions and let's dive into it right after, and we can go through a couple of things, give them an idea how Gordy might use it. Gordy, can you just a couple of questions for you? Can you share a time where you found major discrepancies among your properties that the advanced purchase report showed?
Yeah, I find them week over week, month over month, and year over year. Price fluctuations for my top, mid, and lower volume products using the report. It kind of glares out to me. It shows me my first price, my last price, an average price, date, a lot of information that allow me to see what my case usage was along with the volume. And I do find aha type moments to document and have meaningful conversations with either the manufacturer or the distributor. And it allows me to see what's going up and historically what has came down.
Gotcha. Perfect. In what ways has this report supported you through distribution challenges this past year?
All right.
$1 million question.
Yeah, I've been living in it. I think it's been more relevant the past 18 months than it has ever been. We've had and continue to see some inflationary pressures as a result of logistics, packaging, resin cost, materials, inbound freight. No matter where you look at it, we're seeing inflation. While the distributor agreement remains constant, when you work on a fee per case or on a margin, you do have that lift that flows up into your invoice price. If we go back over the past decade, we really didn't have inflationary pressures like we're seeing now. And my feelings are that hopefully most of them are short to midterm and we'll see some relief in the quarters ahead. But prices have gone up quick and they're typically sticky coming down. They don't come down that quick. But I would say how I've used the report is I have basically tracked the increases using the report, preserved my data, and along with it created a field on the side to document what the manufacturer's reason was for those increases. Whether it was logistics, whether it was resin, whether it was the cost of goods to manufacture it. And when it's all said and done and things begin to normalize and we see some of these pressures in logistic come off, it's important to me to be able to go back and have that document, to have those meaningful conversations with those manufacturers. Again, because that pricing is sticking, coming back down. And they just don't want to give that up. I've always had a saying that pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. The reality is that I see some RFPs coming out at the in the future with people that I've been with for a long time that
Yep.
just aren't really right sizing or normalizing and being relevant when prices come down.
Gotcha. No, great feedback. Are there common items that you see inconsistencies with that you use this report to check on?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I use the report to dig into the items at a more granular, detailed level. As you pointed out, Tyler, I learned things that you just showed today that I can't wait to get back into. So, to me, it's understanding what has increased or decreased at a particular DC, because I've got some challenges there that I've done to make things simpler for me. So I don't see as many, but I have seen more this year than I have seen in the years past.
Yeah. Yep. Any tips or ways that you have your report set up and customized for optimization? I know I went over kind of automating a top 25 or something like that. Anything that you're doing today that you can share with the audience?
Yeah, I certainly, I look at the top 200. The top 25 on my side, if you look at your 80-20 rule and your spend where you have your contracts, those should only change if you've got it a delivered price from the supplier into distribution, or you're out there contracted on the freight component of it. You'll know when you're going to have an increase on that from the freight side because you get notified. But I dig down to the top 200. And sometimes I'll just go for the entire supplier on it, the distributor on those items, to really take a look at the detail farther down. So when you take out that top 25, top 50, or 75 or 100 that you're contracted on, those you know when they're going to be going up or down.
Yeah.
It's about going down farther to see where you don't have those agreements because they may not be worthwhile for you to negotiate, and a lot of those items sit under your programs where you collect money back for me, and just about being able to identify that and be aware of it.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, just bringing that back up again, under that columns tab in the purchase report advance, you'll be able to go in there and you can actually look at on contract, yes or no, and jump in it from there, like Gordy said. So you can look at your top 200 non-contracted products. So no, that's perfect. Next question for you. How do you utilize this report to manage all your locations?
The functionality of the report allows me to get into the detail of it. If I look at under the grouping box, you can sort by any field, and you touched base on that. What's unique in what I've got going is I'm on matched locked order guide that is restricted. So our locations don't have the opportunity to buy anything. They only see what is approved. For those of you that don't have locked order guides, you can get in there and see what products locations are buying and making a decision because it's on the order guide. It's not it's not what you want them to be buying. It's not necessarily who you want them to be purchasing the item from. But by having that set up that way, I'm able to control what's on there. I don't see a tremendous amount of variance because we want to stick to our brand. I look at my contracted spend, customizing my columns before I run the report, which then also allows me to ensure that a sub item that was unrestricted in through a distributing channel wasn't restricted back and this location continues to buy it. So that glares out at me. And sometimes they'll just do that out of habit, and sometimes they'll do it because maybe it's less expensive, but it's not the product we use.
Gotcha. Perfect. Last one for you. What else can you share regarding the advanced purchase reports that you find essential to your success?
Simplicity would be number one. It allows me to have meaningful internal and external conversations. Certainly, as we said, budgets, complete menu analysis, as well as interact with the supplier and the distributors in conversations. I use the report to generate supplier agreements for direct quarterly bill backs by providing them a clean usage report by the distributor, the manufacturer, the item number, the manufacturer number, the description, and then showing those cases that were purchased. And all my suppliers or my manufacturers accept this report as a gold standard. I have never been questioned once on the data. I have audited it compared to what the suppliers have shown out there and my distributors to the actual report itself. So as long as the data feeds are right and they're built in, there's seldom a variance. And if that variance is, it's insignificant. But truly, it's a lot, the system is a lot better than what we have internal, as well as operators that I interacted with in my prior career, in the ability and the simplicity to use. So I think that's the, I'm not worried about my data. I'm not worried about it. I can get to it, and I know others can't.
Perfect. No, I appreciate you taking some of my questions. And again, I think you touched base on it a few times. It's simplicity, right? Is being able to get that information quick and just right at your fingertips, and being able to slice and dice it any way you see fit, and just having that right in front of you. So yeah, perfect. I'll appreciate it. And then Carrie, I'll flip it back over to you for any questions from the audience, and me and Gordy can run through them if there's any.
Awesome. Well, thank you for answering those questions, Gordon. Awesome as always. All right, so we're at the point where we'd like to open up the floor to any of our audience members out there who have a question. Okay, so we do actually have one already. With supply chain tensions and so many significant availability challenges, a lot of folks' specialty items are sub-changed modified, so the standard reports may not indicate these supply struggles. Has InsideTrack thought about any unique reports that could help show these deviations and ways to view impacts?
So one of the good things we can do is honestly, for those items that get subbed out, if those are contracted items, we're able to run a report that shows you, items that you have covered, and then similar items that may get subbed for the items that you are contracted with, right? So we can actually run a full report to show you by category, by location. Here's the spec that was covered. Here's what got subbed. And then here's the impact. And we've actually done a few different things in regards to being able to audit certain sub products if distributors will hold that pricing or whatever it may be. But we do have the flexibility and ability to actually go in and show you those items that are subbed out for your contracted ones. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Here's another one. What would be your recommendation tip for someone who's utilizing this tool for the very first time?
Is that to me or Tyler?
Whoever would like to take it, go for it.
I'll take that one.
All right.
The first thing I'd say is you can't break the report. I know it looks overwhelming to many people. The more times you get into it, the less overwhelming it is. But you'll learn quickly by generating reports. I always take them to the Excel. I do highly recommend detailed naming of the report, because when you revert back to them, and I keep them in a folder. But for example, if you're looking at French fries for a given period of time or a given year or a quarterly report, the better you name it, the quicker you'll find that report. If not, it's tough to go on back. You got to open them and look at those ranges. But Tyler talked about the ability to remove those columns and data and set it up the way you want it. If you run it with it all, then you're just going into columns and deleting it. And that takes a little bit of time, but it doesn't take a lot of time. And the more times you use the report and you experiment with it, you're not paying to generate the report. So the best way to use it is learn by doing it. And Tyler showed the question mark, how you can go on up there and understand it. I would also say that I'm able to generate a report for a given time period for every single supplier that has a data feed in there. And then when I put filter tabs on it, I'm able to take that and sort that data by this supplier or that supplier or all suppliers. And then I can sort it and go by alpha. I can take it, go by manufacturer, and kind of get to the same place without building all of those fields in there. But to me, it's, if you group it by the location, or if you want to get down to the individual location, that's important, because if I want to compare by locations, who's using more of this product or what the issue is. But it's just so much data in there that just takes a little bit of experience in looking at the data and understanding what else you can do with it. And again, that point that I used on my quarterly or annual bill backs, that's a lot easier than anything else. I prefer to do them. I do have some reports that are spoon fed to me, but I want to go on in there because then I pay attention more to the report and look at it and compare the report as opposed to just forwarding it on. But I think my biggest recommendation would be use it. You're not going to break it.
You can try, yeah. I mean, I think, Gordy, that's a great point too, is actually just getting in there and utilizing it and manipulating some of the fields. And again, to Gordy's point, there's so many different fields within this report. You don't have to use them all, right? You can go in and set a date range and pick a location, pick a distributor, and just hit run. And then kind of branch out from there. But to Gordy's point, getting in there, utilizing it, that's one of the best tips, we can give you guys. So.
Well, this is obviously a very hot topic because our questions are on fire. Okay, next in from the audience. What's the best way to compare an item price, say this week versus last year versus same week last year, other than dating back to last year? And that goes back to either of you.
So comparing a price
This year versus the same week last year.
Same week last year. So,
other than dating back to last year. Did you want me to read that again for you?
Yeah, so okay, so I think if you're looking to compare prices this year versus last year, that's something where we could might gear more towards a price trend report, looking at the same product this year versus last year, same time period, how the pricing fluctuates. Again, could run it for, if you want to look at it for this month, run it for this month, run it for the next month, combine it. But something like that would be probably more geared towards a price trend report, where you have certain categories, one price this year, same item versus last year, to see how that impacts affecting you this year. I think that's what the question is. But Cordy, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, one of the fields that when I want to look at a trend over a given period of months, in this report, you can go down to running it by monthly. And so if I select last year to this year, I can take and get what the average price was for each month or each quarter, and then have a linear line out on Excel that I'm able to look at it and say, okay, in January, hypothetically, it was $10. It was $10 in February. March, it was $10.38. And then when I got to August, it moved to $11.53. And you can see that average price. Now, that's how I use that to see it. I see that in the other reports when you go back and you look at that price report. But again, I think that this report has so much data, and if you're looking to spot trends or lift in pricing, you can see it on the report, because it will give it to you in a way with the greatest price increases and decreases. And again, in the filter, I will look at where am I having the greatest amount of spending lift, and I will sort those columns by greatest increases. And again, that I'll run that with the contracts as well, and I know what's contracted and what's not, but I can sort that, and then I can see historically what's gone down, but that report now is riddled with more lift in price than actual decrease. And it's not the report's fault, it's just the inflationary pressures we're feeling.
Exactly.
Okay, we have one more question for Gordon, and then we'll wrap up this session. How often would you say you use this tool, and what has been the greatest advantage of it?
Better data, as I shared before, than I could get from our internal system. It's a lot quicker. I can get it on demand without relying upon anyone else. And again, when I say quick, I can get the data I want typically within 2 to 5 minutes or 3 minutes on a report that I'm generating. But it allows me to really have meaningful conversations with the suppliers. I am in it 2, 3, 4 times a week some weeks. Other weeks, if I get to the quarter end, I typically block out 2, 3 hours just to run a few reports and actually analyze the data. It allows me to really stay current what's going on during the past 18 months. All of our worlds have been tipped over. We don't necessarily have the resources that we had before in our corporate office. People are coming back to work, but most of us, almost all of us, have been working remote. So I'm without that support that I had internally, and without it, I'd probably not be where I am right now, feeling that at least I have somewhat of a game in managing all through this. So that'd be an answer to that one. Good question.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for joining this mug session. As always, this recording will go live on the InsideTrack blog page. I am sharing the link to all right now, so you have direct access to it. As you know, a mug happens every Tuesday, the last Tuesday of every month at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next one is happening July 27th. And as a reminder, when you attend 6 or more sessions, you're entered to win a DeLonghi espresso machine. And next month makes 6 months of mugs, so we're going to have some winners coming up. So everyone, stay tuned for that. And just thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoy this heat wave, and have a great week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
And
Gordon.
thank you to Gordon again.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.